Welcome to the Money Manifestation Mastery Podcast with your host, Lara Waldman, where we talk all things money. Big money, big purpose, big power. Waking up your wealth for heart-centered business owners and entrepreneurs. It's the 1-year anniversary of the Money Manifestation Mastery podcast. And we're posting this on my birthday. Today is all about celebration, acknowledging the past year and opening the doors for what's to come. Let's dive in. I can't believe it's been 1 year since we launched the Money Manifestation Mastery podcast. It completely blows my mind what's been happening this last year. And I am delighted to celebrate this moment with you. First of all, I want to thank you so much for being part of this journey with me, for listening, for leaning in, for working with this powerful step-by-step process, creating in your life, your business, your finances, guided by your heart, body, and soul. It's a beautiful, rich, deep body of work, and it's incredibly powerful. I honor you, and I thank you for being part of this journey. It means the world to me to share this with you. It means the world to me to connect with you on this level of authenticity, of heart, of soul, of power, of possibility. Because I know that when we connect on this level, we can create powerfully and effectively and make this world a better place, starting with you. I was reflecting back on the years leading up to this podcast. I knew I wanted to start my own podcast for many years before I did. And I had a lot of avoidance around it, frustration around it. It wasn't quite the right time. And then my guidance said, it's time. We're going to launch this on your 45th birthday. And I remember the resistance, the fear that came up for me when I thought about getting this podcast going. And this is something I've just got used to about myself. When I'm following the guidance from my soul, my heart, my body's wisdom, there is often another part of me that's in resistance to that, that's contracting against it or scared, resistant in some way. Part of me knows it's right, part of me knows I want it, and then another part of me wants to stay where I am. It's completely normal. And because it was my 45th birthday, and because my best friend had died just after she turned 45, I felt that this was my moment. This was the time. Let's not wait. Life is too short. Let's do this. So I moved forward with this podcast, even though I felt resistance, even though I had stress, even though there didn't seem like there was enough time. And I followed that guidance. I followed that flow. And I'm so glad that I did. It's been incredibly moving receiving messages from people who've been listening to this podcast, the value they've been receiving from it, the breakthroughs they've been receiving from it. And this is why I do what I do, knowing that this work is impacting you and impacting your life is soul food for me. So I absolutely love getting your messages. I love hearing what you're receiving because here I am, I'm sitting here by myself, talking into a box, talking into a microphone, and knowing how this work is landing into your life really fuels my fire. So thank you for your messages. Thank you for letting me know how this impacts you and how this is transforming your life, your business, your finances, and your personal life. And this 1-year anniversary episode is also coming out on my birthday. It's funny because I'm not actually very good at celebrating myself. I'm not very good at celebrating my birthday. It's something that I get quite uncomfortable about. So I'm stretching myself a little bit to even tell you that it's my birthday because I want to celebrate. I want to celebrate you. I want us to celebrate our lives. I want us to celebrate being alive and finding excuses in a way to mark these moments to celebrate. And I actually have a birthday request for you. My heartfelt desire and my soul's guidance is to reach more and more people with this work. 100 million people, in fact. This body of work wants to grow and blossom. And the only way I can do that is with your help. So I have 2 requests. One is to make sure that you have subscribed and followed this podcast, and to share this podcast with someone who would receive value from it. So you could share the link to someone personally, or you could post about it on social media. You could write an email about it to share the power of this work. That is my birthday request from my heart to yours. Thank you so much for sharing this with others. I was reflecting on this last year since the launch of the podcast and all the growth and development in my business and all the growth and development in my personal life, in my marriage, in my home life, within myself. And there has been a lot going on behind the scenes. It's been a powerful year of change. Some things have been incredible. Some things have been really, really challenging. And yet, what I can see now are some of the results of all that groundwork, that foundational work. And it always feels so worth it when you can finally see the fruits of your labor, so to speak. When you're in the middle of transformation, the healing process, change, it can feel really hard, really heavy. And sometimes you can even doubt what you're doing and why you're doing it. And then over time, when you start to see results, when you start to see physical evidence of all that inner work you've been doing, it all becomes worth it. But it's not always evident. You can't always see those results physically in your physical life right away. Sometimes it takes days, sometimes it takes weeks, sometimes it takes months, and sometimes it takes years. Because there's some very deep foundational work that you're doing now that you won't see the result of for the months or years to come. And this is why it's so important to keep tapping into your heart's consciousness, your soul's wisdom, your body's wisdom, because that part of you is building something deep, rich, and foundational that's going to hold you and support you and grow you into something far, far greater than that kind of survival brain, short-term thinking, pleasure-seeking part of yourself will tell you. This last year for me personally was a big year of unhooking and letting go of some very deep, old family patterns. In some ways, 2023 really kicked my ass. It was immensely painful letting go and unhooking of some of these family dynamics. Now, in some ways, I've been doing this work for 20 years, working on healing my relationship with my mother, working on healing my relationship with my father, doing a lot of inner child work. I've been in this game for a long time. But this last year was the final hurrah, so to speak, really pulling the roots out. What I had done is a lot of work on all of my relationships, my human relationships. And then what I discovered was some of that hard wiring patterns and programs were still living inside of me beyond the relationship. So I did a lot of unhooking from what I would call wounded attachments, cords and attachments with others, and had to really unhook within myself. And I realized this was actually going on a neuropathway level. This was just going on inside of my nervous system and actually didn't have anything to do with anyone else anymore. I got to this place where this wasn't about my mother. This wasn't about my father. This wasn't about my family. This was about what was alive and living inside of me. But that's also meant needing to take space, needing to unhook from certain ways of doing relationships, letting go of conscious or unconscious expectation inside of relationships. And I've been doing this unhooking and letting go with all of my relationships. It's been really intense, but without ending relationships, still staying in relationship, but really, really deeply listening and deeply honoring myself within all of these relationships. So it was incredibly painful and incredibly stressful for little Lara, for my wounded self, for my small self. And I had to do a lot of holding of myself and a lot of unpicking of old dynamics and patterns, because those wounded, traumatized parts of us, they can get very confused, and it can create a lot of chaos and a lot of fears and doubts. And so this work, following the wisdom of my heart, body, and soul, really helped me to navigate through this path. And what I found particularly stressful about this is that I understand that my path, who I am, what I'm here to do, how I'm living my life, how I'm growing my business, how I'm creating wealth, is an unusual path that most of my family and friends aren't going to understand. So I've had to risk going alone, being misunderstood, being judged, in order to honor who I am and what I'm here to do. And that's been really stressful for me. And in fact, that very thing is what's created a lot of inner conflict and why it's taken me longer to move forward in my business, why it's taken me longer to be bolder and braver, because I was in this inner conflict and this absolute fear of loss and what I would lose and what relationships would end if I kept moving forward. But following my heart, body, soul wisdom has led me into a way of transforming without burning everything down, without destroying all of my relationships. It's been quite extraordinary, really, because my brain catastrophizes and gets very binary in its thinking, and it's very all or nothing. But my heart and soul and body have a very different point of view about how to navigate through change, how to grow and evolve through relationships. But letting go of wounded attachments has been a really big part of that. And then figuring out, well, how do I be myself fully? How do I do these relationships without the wounded attachments when I'm fully aligned with my heart, body, and soul, fully honoring myself? And so this has been a path, a process that I've been on for many, many, many years. But this last year was another level of that work. And it has been very intense, very uncomfortable. But I'm through the worst of it now, through the fire, and ready to rise into this next level. Spring is here. The new wave is here. New life is here. So in a lot of ways, I went down into the deepest depths of the dungeon of myself, into the pit, into the darkness, into the roots, the ancestral roots, and reclaimed a part of myself, reconnected to a part of myself, a deeper level of myself, in order to rise, to lead, to create from a whole new place. So even though it's been hard and painful and confusing, we're through the woods now and ready to rise into this next level, getting ready for this next wave. What's incredible is that my marriage, my relationship has grown, evolved, and transformed in extraordinary ways. My children are growing up. My eldest is about to go traveling. She's turning 19 this year. Then she's going off to university. It's such a big moment for me as a mother. My second child is turning 16, and things are growing. Things are evolving. I'm needing to let go and adjust and adapt to how I parent my children at this age and stage. We're constantly growing and evolving and changing and transforming. And I love that. It keeps life so interesting. It makes me feel so alive. But at the same time, it can be really intense, really uncomfortable, really hard to let go. So I've really learned the value of grieving, of feeling my feelings, to let go in order to let in. And now we're standing on new ground, ready to welcome in this next chapter. And I want to share some of the visions that I have for this next wave and for this community that you're part of, for this network. I would like to share what I'm being guided into. I'd like to share where this beautiful body of work is going. And I would love to invite you into more. I'd love to invite you into more. Even though there is so much going on in this world to be very stressed about, deeply upset about, very worried about, at the same time, energetically, there is this incredible opening happening. I've been getting ready for this time for the last 20 years. There is a huge energetic opening and an opportunity for incredible growth, evolution, transformation. Manifestation is speeding up. It is possible to create faster and faster and faster. But it is essential now that you live in alignment with your heart, body, and soul. And do the work of letting go, dismantling, releasing everything that's no longer in alignment. The energy is fast, it is powerful, and it is intense. But if you can get into alignment, you can skyrocket results. It's essential right now that you are well supported in order to go through this transition and transformation with as much ease and flow as possible. And because of this, I have been guided to create a very, very special program as a stepping stone between my free work and my higher level investment spaces like my Living Abundance Mastermind and my Living Abundance Leaders program. So I've got a really special offer for you with a birthday discount that I would like to share with you. I have opened the doors to a new program called Manifestation Mastery. It's a 12-step process to take you through the step-by-step to manifestation mastery. You are going to be held and supported with all the tools that you need to rise and thrive during this time. This is the first time in over 6 years that it's been possible to work with me at this price point, and I would love you to grab this opportunity. And I've got a birthday discount that you can put in the coupon codes section to have a nice special birthday gift from me to you. On a soul level, you chose to be here at this time to come in and do the work that you came here to do. Now, it's easy to forget that soul-aligned version of yourself, and it's easy to disconnect from that soul wisdom. Our beautiful brain can keep us in old habits, cycles of survival, very stuck, looping in the same old patterns, ways of doing things, habits. But your soul is always with you. That heart consciousness is always with you. That body's wisdom, and it's always with you. And it is talking to you. It is calling you home. It is calling you to listen. And unfortunately, most human beings don't listen, so we learn the hard way. Through pain, through challenges, through setbacks, sometimes forces us to stop and listen. But what I found is if you can get on the front foot of this and have a daily practice where you're deeply listening, it will help you to stay in flow, in alignment with who you are, what you want, and where you're going. And this is what I'm here to do. My purpose is to hold a powerful, safe space for you to do this transformational journey, to deeply listen, to connect and align with who you are on the level of your heart, body, and soul, to help you step into manifestation mastery, because that's actually your birthright. Deep inside of you, you know how to do this. You've just forgotten. We haven't been taught. We haven't been shown. This is my body of work for you. So I would love to invite you to lean in and step into all the resources that I have here for you. Of course, there's this podcast. I run free masterclasses. I run free online events. I run live events in person, retreats, all sorts of amazing things. But this next course, Manifestation Mastery, is the stepping stone beyond those free or very low-cost resources. This is your next step for you. And I've built it for you, guided by my soul, guided by my heart, who told me it's time. We need this stepping stone to help people get into the game, onto this path, and start creating more powerfully, more effectively, in alignment with who you are and what you want. It's absolutely beautiful what's here for you, what's ready and waiting for you. The floodgates are opening. But if you're not in alignment, things are going to get harder, more painful, tighter. It is time. I have been getting ready for this time for 20 years so I could lead you and support you through this powerful transformational process, through this powerful transformational time, because you have seeds to plant, you have things to build, you have incredible gifts to share with this world, and also you're here to live fully as a human being. Your soul having a physical experience to come fully alive in who you truly are through this physical body and this physical experience is an extraordinary thing. Yes, there's an intensity to being fully alive, to be fully here, but that's what I believe we came here to do. And on a soul level, you are here to lead. You are here to lead in your business, in your work, in your life, starting with leading yourself, stepping into leadership, heart, body, soul aligned leadership for yourself, for your personal life, for your professional life, and your financial life. And it's just simply soul aligned, and it's simply time. So if you're ready to be well supported through this time of change, through the powerful and simple step-by-step process to manifestation mastery, I'd love to invite you to join my new program. It's ready and waiting for you. Birthday discount below. You can check the show notes to find out more information. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Happy to answer any questions. Send me an email, send me a DM. I would love to hear from you at any time. I want to acknowledge how beautiful this work is, how powerful it is, and also how intense it can be, because you need to go first. Leaders, go first. Following that heart, body, and soul takes a lot of courage, a lot of trust, a lot of faith, and I want to honor you for that. I want to acknowledge this process, and I want you to know that you do not have to be alone with this work, and being well supported is one of the keys to manifestation mastery. You're never meant to do this alone, and together we can rise and thrive on purpose. Thank you for joining me for the 1-year anniversary and birthday special. It's been incredible to celebrate with you. Thank you for being part of this community. Thank you for being part of this network. I would love to continue connecting with you, diving deep with you, and hopefully to meet you in person, in real life even, at some point. So head over to my website, larawaldman.com, and you can check out all the resources, all the events that are coming up, and I hope to connect with you again very soon.